If you asked me during the time that I was applying to colleges what school I thought that I would be going to this fall, I don't think I would have ever said Howard, but honestly, I'm so glad now that I am. Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing my first video on my back to school series. So this one goes out to all of you not yet college students. But basically, I'm going to be telling you like some really good tips so that you can get into like your dream school, or if you're specifically trying to go to Howard. Yeah, so I'm pretty much gonna give you like some tips that you can use when you're applying to schools and you're trying to choose schools, just so you can be as successful as possible, and I wish you luck on your college journey. So first, one thing that you need to make sure, like one very, very important thing that colleges look at is your GPA. If you are going to be a senior in high school, or if you are a senior in high school, whatever, your GPA is not going to change much from what it was and what it has been the past 4 years. Like your cumulative GPA is not really going to move much. Mine maybe moved like 0.1 something, like it really did not move much. But don't take that as a like way to slack off. Senioritis is a real thing. I know, I went through it. I overcame it because I still ended with amazing grades. I only had one B and it was an 88. If you were like a freshman or a sophomore, your GPA is a lot more moldable, but you do need to make sure that you're staying on track. And if you are a junior, this is pretty much your last year to really grind hard, because it's the last year that really, really counts. The colleges only see, when you're applying to them, only see like your first semester grades of senior year, but everything before then is like completely valid. So I can do a great video on how to make straight A's and how to keep good grades. If you guys want, just let me know. Next is test scores. So you obviously have two options for standardized testing. You have the SAT and the ACT. I took both. Personally, I preferred the ACT, but honestly, if I were you, I would go ahead and take both and take them multiple times. Start early if you can, and if you're like a senior now, you only have a few opportunities to take it if you have not already. So make sure you're paying attention to those deadlines, because those test days will come up on you fast, and you usually have to register months in advance. Do study preps for them. There's so many resources out there to do well on standardized test scores, and standardized test scores typically are also how you get merit-based scholarships from schools. So it is extremely important. It doesn't matter how high you score. If you didn't get a perfect score, take it again if you can, because honestly, it's going to be so worth it in the end when A, you get into the school you really want to, that's more difficult to get into, and B, when you have a really good scholarship so you're not having to pay a whole lot for college. So when it comes to choosing a school, there are a lot of factors to look at. With the school in itself, location is important. The environment, I guess that kind of goes with location, is important. The types of students that typically go there and the types of programs that the school is known for are also really good things to look for. Like, so for instance, if you want to be in the political scene, a good place to go to school is DC, because you're right there in the heart, and like internships are really good. If you want to be in, I would say, more of the business scene, a good location to pick a school to go to is in New York, because Wall Street. So like if you're trying to go to like a performing arts school, good locations for those are like Atlanta, New York, and California. Don't be afraid to go away from home. I know that I was really nervous about that starting out, but now honestly I'm so glad that I'm leaving, because it gives you a chance to really just blossom on your own. With choosing a school, it's also good to like I was saying before with the whole majors kind of situation, or what you want to study, like it's good to choose a school where you feel like you would fit in, and a school that is good for your major. It's pretty easy to tell what kind of students go to certain types of schools. Like schools do have reputations for types of students. Also good to choose a variety of schools when you're applying. Like don't just apply to schools in Georgia, don't just apply to schools in one area. Branch out. Like so many people are worried about money, but honestly, if you're meant to go somewhere, you will end up there. Apply to a variety of private and public colleges, because private colleges tend to give you more money. Which a lot of people don't realize, but their financial aid tends to be a little bit better, because in-state public schools, a lot of times the scholarships and money you're relying on is from in-state tuition and like things in your state, but private colleges do tend to give good amounts of money, so do look into those, because don't be afraid to apply to a school because you're thinking about the money. Like, make a variety. So like, you have schools that you know don't cost a lot, and then there are some really expensive schools that are good schools. Go ahead and apply. Like, you never know. Choose a variety of schools based on difficulty and admissions. I forgot to mention this, so sorry if it's like kind of weird because I'm just gonna edit this part in. But when you are applying, make sure you look at the freshman profile. There are a lot of websites that can like show you where it is, and basically what it shows you is the stats of the students who applied to the school and got in. So pretty much like it gives more insight into the demographics of the school and what they're looking for when you apply and how you compare to other students as opposed to like the requirements for the school. School has the ACT requirement of a 20 and a GPA requirement of a 3.0, but all of the students who apply to the school have 3.5s and 26s on the ACT. Then if you only met those minimum requirements, you don't have as high of a chance at getting in. So another thing to think about is extracurricular activities, because colleges do look at extracurriculars. It honestly just depends on the school, what they're looking for and how much they want to see, but based on the school, it just depends on the school you're applying to. But either they like to see a student who has one really good talent and they spent 4 years doing it. Sometimes they like to see more well-rounded students. When visiting schools, a lot of people go and travel all around the country or all around wherever they're going to visit schools before they apply. Personally, I recommend applying to the schools first and then waiting to see if you get in to decide if you want to go there. So it saves money because you're not traveling to a bunch of schools that you like might not get into. So when you're applying, Common App opens on a certain date is when the applications open. I can't remember, but it is like at the beginning of the school year. Pretty much, if you have not already and you're a senior in high school, you need to narrow down your choices because those deadlines will like come so quick. Like, I didn't realize how fast everything came, especially when you're applying early to schools, which I do recommend applying early to schools because you get notified quicker. But sometimes it is a little bit more difficult to get into a school when you apply early, because even though it's a smaller pool of applicants, those applicants typically excel a lot more. Also, with requirements, a lot of times you have to get recommendation letters. One of them is for sure going to be from your counselor, so make sure you get that done because counselors tend to have a lot of students. So you don't want to get caught like last minute and your counselor forgets. Another thing you're probably going to need, most likely you're going to need, and even if it's optional, go ahead and get it done. You also will most likely have to write a personal essay. Even if it's optional, go ahead and write it because you never know. A lot of people have misconceptions about personal essays, and I talk to a lot of people about this, a lot of admissions counselors. I've watched a lot of videos of admissions counselors talking about personal essays. It does not have to be a sob story. It does not have to be, it's better to do something that stands out than to do something cliche. You can relate it to anything, like literally you can write about anything just as long as you're expressing who you really are. So now I'm gonna go into like more personal things about my experience applying to college and specifically applying to Howard because that is where I'm going. So I feel like I have a little bit of insight. So when I applied to Howard, I did apply early, so I think I submitted my application in October because I submitted it early. It's always good to submit your applications a couple of weeks. I would say as soon as possible, months before the deadline, because if something is wrong with your application, you'll get notified faster. Yeah, I applied early action, so I applied somewhere around October and then I got notified in December. Howard's personal essay, I don't know if it's still optional, but when I applied like just last year or whatever, almost last year this time, it was optional and I did not write it, but write the essay. It's honestly gonna help your chances. Don't have a big head like me because it's not gonna do anything beneficial for you. And it can honestly help your admissions if they're on the fence about you. With Howard, and this goes for any school, like I was kind of touched on before, look at the schools that they're known for because those are typically going to be harder to get into. For instance, Howard has a really prestigious school of business that's really well known. So most likely when you're applying to the school and you're applying for the school of business, because it does work by like not only university, but it also works by college. So like you're applying to the college within the university, if that makes sense. So school of business will be a little bit more difficult to get into compared to some of the other schools. It just depends. But yeah, I applied to the College of Arts and Sciences because I wanted to major in psychology. I did get a scholarship, a merit-based scholarship. I don't feel comfortable saying the amount, but they do base their scholarships off of the GPA and test score. I did visit the school before I applied. I visited like all the schools that I was interested in DC before I applied to them in October. Howard's campus, honestly, when I originally saw it, was my least favorite, Georgetown being my favorite campus. But I do like that Howard's campus is a little bit smaller and that everything is in close walking distance because you're not walking a whole lot. So just a little bit about my stats, just in case you guys are wondering like what grades and stuff I had and like when I got in. So pretty much my unweighted GPA is a 3.6, and then my weighted GPA is almost a 4.2. I took, I think, 7 or 8 AP courses. I took the ACT one time, which don't do that. I got a 30 on it and I was like, whatever, a 30 is great, like I'll be fine. But honestly, if I would have just scored 2 points higher, I could have gotten this much more money or whatever from all of the schools I applied to, or I could have had this much better of a chance of getting into the schools that I didn't get into if my test score would have been just 2 points higher, because I'm sure I could have done it. So like I said before, if you did not get a perfect score on your standardized test, take it again. My extracurricular activities varied a lot. I definitely was one of the people who looked more well-rounded. I had theater on there for 4 years, and then the International Thespian Society, which I had leadership positions in, being co-president, secretary, and historian for some years. I had National Honor Society, Spanish National Honor Society, varsity golf for 2 years, dance. So yeah, with my teacher recommendations, I had 3. I got 2 from my actual teachers, 1 from my physics teacher junior year, and 1 from my AP Psych teacher junior year, who also had me freshman year, so she knew me really well. They both liked me and we both had like good relationships, so you know, it was lit. And then my 3rd recommendation letter I got from my golf coach, because he could give, I wanted to like have a variety of myself, so he could give more insight to my personality. But I definitely can make another video about like the whole college process. If you want me to, just go ahead and comment below or DM me if you have any questions about anything regarding college, specifically Howard. I do wish all of you luck on applying to college if you are applying to college. I'm praying for you all. It's a process and it's gonna take a long time and it's gonna be stressful and frustrating, but I promise you in the end it's so worth it. So just keep positive thoughts around it, you know, like do what you can. I hope you get into the school that you want to go to, and if you're trying to go to Howard, I hope that you get into the Mecca. Yeah, don't forget to like, wait, I did that wrong. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.